We all know the stories of Christmas, the trees, the gifts, the traditions. But the history of Christmas is one of intrigue and fascination. So come along as we take a look at the history of Christmas. Since the death of Jesus in 33 AD, Christianity as a whole spread from the Middle East to the Roman Empire. At the time of the earliest church records, they say that Christians were remembering and celebrating the birth of the Lord, an observance that sprang up organically from the authentic devotion of ordinary believers. It is widely believed that Jesus was born on the 25th of December, but during the first recorded Christmas celebrations of 336 AD, the date of his birth was the cause of great speculation. Some people believed that his birth occurred on May 20th, while others asserted that it had to be April 21st. The date of the 25th of December was no accident. It was considered the date of the winter solstice in the Roman calendar. As St. Augustine said in the late 4th century, "Hence it is that he was born on the day which is the shortest in our earthly reckoning, and from which subsequent days begin to increase in length. He, therefore, who bent low and lifted us up, chose the shortest day, yet the one whence light begins to increase." As the Roman Empire crumbled and the Middle Ages were being ushered in, Christmas was actually being overshadowed by Epiphany, a holiday more focused on the three wise men rather than Jesus. It wasn't until Charlemagne was crowned on Christmas Day in 800, King Edmund the Martyr was anointed on Christmas Day in 855, and William the Conqueror of England was crowned on Christmas Day 1066, that Christmas slowly came back into prevalence. The Christmas of the Middle Ages was quite different than what it is today. For instance, Christmas was more of a public festival. There was much drinking and boisterous behavior involved with these festivals. Christmas gift-giving was generally done between those in legal relationships, such as a landlord and tenant. Although as much as things were different, there were just as many things that have stood the test of time, such as feasting, caroling, and the general merriment associated with this time of the year. Following the Protestant Reformation in 1517, many new sects of Christianity were created, such as the Anglican Church and the Lutheran Church, both of which continued to celebrate Christmas. However, another new branch were the Puritans, who strongly condemned what they saw as an invention of the Catholics and the trappings of the Pope. As a result of this backlash, the Catholic Church advocated for a more religiously oriented celebration. For weeks, riots broke out all over England, and in the end, the Puritans got their way and Christmas was banned in 1647. During the ban, Christmas was still celebrated, albeit in a much more subdued manner. With the restoration of King Charles, the ban was lifted in 1660, after 13 Christmasless years. As in England, the Puritans of colonial America staunchly opposed Christmas celebrations. Prominent Puritan Cotton Mather condemned the observance of Christmas because a celebration of Christmas was not mentioned in the Bible, and because the holiday brought with it boisterous behavior. It was because of him and many other Puritans that Christmas was outlawed in Boston in 1659. The law was abolished in 1681, but it wasn't until the mid-19th century that Christmas came back to the Boston area. After the American Revolution, there was a brief time in which Christmas fell out of favor yet again due to the fact that Christmas was considered an English holiday, but this sentiment soon faded as the 18th century ended. As the 19th century wore on, there was a growing sentiment to make Christmas a more family-oriented holiday. Keep in mind that traditions from the Middle Ages still held strong. This sentiment came to a head in 1843, when Charles Dickens published A Christmas Carol, which emphasized Christmas not as a loud and oftentimes drunken party, but as a holiday that is characterized by family, goodwill, and compassion. Christmas carols were also having a revival, with songs like The First Noel in 1823, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen in 1833, Hark the Herald Angels Sing in 1855, and Jingle Bells in 1857. Queen Victoria also had a major hand in revitalizing Christmas when she married Prince Albert in 1840. He brought with him a myriad of German customs, one of them being setting up and decorating a tree. By the 1870s, putting up a Christmas tree was common in America, and in 1875, the first Christmas cards in America were introduced by Louis Prang. During World War I, there was a series of informal truces that took place during the first Christmas in 1914. These spontaneous truces became well known and have been described as a symbol of common humanity even in the darkest of situations. Until the 1950s, many Christmas traditions were reserved for the upper class, but with the increased prosperity brought on in the post-war years, many middle-class people got to enjoy the luxuries at Christmas time. I hope that this brief rundown of the history of Christmas was somewhat informative and maybe a little entertaining. As we come together once again this Christmas, I hope that we can not only reflect on the good times in the past year, but also look forward to the next. Thank you all for listening, and have a very Merry Christmas.